Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. One weekend in late 2013, I was taking an hour-long boat ride, and to pass the time, I tuned to the FM radio on my earphones when I was hit by a sparkling voice that was riding a super crisp roots reggae instrumental. I caught only the last minutes of that song and had no idea who the artist was. I found out weeks later that I'd been listening to a song named Smile Jamaica by a red-hot young gun named Chronixx, who was expected to be the next big thing on the global reggae scene. I was very late to the party, as that young artist had already been lighting up international music festivals for about 2 years before I heard all about him. And by the time his debut EP, Dread and Terrible, hit the streets in 2014, there was no doubt that this young cat was for real. A critical and commercial smash, which had listeners mesmerized by a superb voice and incredibly relatable lyrics. It hit number 1 on the Billboard reggae charts and would stay in the top 10 for almost 1 year. He wasn't what you would call a militant Rasta artist, but he was one that touched on deeply personal everyday issues, like simply paying your bills on time or matters of the heart, all delivered with a sincerity and charm that we all bought into. He took the world by storm, bagging several awards and nominations, like he did for the Best Song and Best Video at the 33rd International Reggae and World Music Awards. Along with his power protege, they would represent the face of 21st century reggae, and by the time he unleashed his first full album in 2017's Chronology, he seemed set to be the biggest and most powerful force in reggae. The album was nominated for Best Reggae Album in 2018 and lost narrowly to Stony Hill by Damian Marley. Like many fans, it was simply a given that this dude was the guy, and I told anyone who cared to listen that his next album would be the biggest thing in 21st century reggae. But unfortunately, that album's release was shelved, and I thought then that the COVID lockdowns were responsible. But after 5 years, we still haven't seen his follow-up album or major material except for a few singles and features, and his absence is also heavily noticed on the touring circuit, and all of this has prompted the question over why he's been far removed from the music scene. But in recent times, it's been suggested that his hiatus might have a connection to contractual obligations to legendary label owner and producer Chris Blackwell, which he entered into before he became a global superstar. So now let's take a look at the rise of Chronixx and why he stayed away from music for the past 5 years. He was born Jamal McNaughton in 1992 in the humble district of De La Vega in Spanish Town, Jamaica. He was born into a musical family, as his father, Selvin McNaughton, better known as Chronixx, was also a reggae artist who was very active in the 90s. Along with his brother and sisters, they began to sing in church, and at the age of 11, he made his first recording with his siblings as a gospel group. He was a gifted songwriter, and by the age of 14, he was already making beats and producing songs for clientele that included Popcan and Lutan Fire. He would link up with producer Romain Arnett of Zinc Fence Records in 2009, and after a few years of producing and writing songs for others, Chronixx unleashed his first single as a reggae artist in 2011 with the song Modern Warfare, which was followed by tracks like Somewhere and Start a Fire. His releases would make huge impact, and he was soon recognized as a future megastar and one of the new leaders of the reggae revival movement, just like Luciano and Garnet Silk had been 2 decades before then. His incredible talent was soon noticed by industry gatekeepers, including none other than Island Records founder Chris Blackwell. Blackwell was blown away by Chronixx's wonderful vocal phrasing and enunciation and compared him to Bob Marley and Frank Sinatra. And he would sign Chronixx to a publishing contract in 2012 with his company Blue Mountain Music, a deal which supposedly opened doors for him. And by 2013, he was setting the airwaves ablaze with certified scorchers like Alpha and Omega, Here Comes Trouble, and the one I first heard, Smile Jamaica. That year, he toured the UK and Kenya, where he had quickly amassed a massive fan base and was even appointed peace ambassador during that African country's elections. And the next year, he released his EP, Dread and Terrible, which became a smash hit, and he went on to a spectacular run over the next 3 years as one of the reggae world's hottest artists, leading up to his phenomenal album, Chronology, in 2017. After a staggering world tour that spanned the US, Australia, Canada, and Europe in 2018, he went back to the studio to begin work on his next album, Della Splash, in 2019. But it was during that period that Chronixx and his partner and fellow reggae artist Kelisa welcomed their daughter. Chronixx's bundle of joy would disrupt his schedule for his album a great deal, and by the end of the year, the coronavirus hit the world, and the global lockdown would toss a bigger spanner into the works of the new album. Becoming a dad had rearranged his priorities, and he would apply more energy to raising his daughter than making new music. Over time, Chronixx fans got impatient as months would turn into a whole year. To calm their nerves, he whet appetites with a teaser single In Della Move in 2020, but would again step away from the limelight and began to be heard and even seen less. Months would again turn to years, and the fans became really restless despite him popping up every now and then with a single or two. His last single, Never Give Up, came out in 2022 to massive reviews as fans and critics hailed its rootsy and analog sound. But after that, he would again step back into the shadows, and the pressure from the fans reached its peak in 2024, and he would do a post on Instagram in which he said in summary that he wouldn't be doing any shows for the immediate future. He would salute his fans, but made it clear that he couldn't rush creativity. And he also called out Spotify for allowing fake uploads to his accounts, and generally expressed fatigue with the music industry. But in recent times, my attention was drawn to the notion that his contract with Chris Blackwell's company might be the reason why he's been reluctant to put out a new album. And the insinuation was that Chronixx might still be under a contract which has him bound. And this is very common in the music business, as Blackwell himself had trouble when he tried to sign the Wailers, as they were then under a contract with Jad Records. And when I heard some songs like Sound a Beat and Celebration for reggae artist Hector Ruth Lewis with his voice all over it but still uncredited, it made me even more suspicious that this might be the truth. So I dug deep and did some heavy research, and I couldn't find any evidence of any rifts or legal disputes. For one thing, I know that Blackwell had lost interest in the music business since he sold Island Records in 1989, and also Chronixx formed his own record label named Soul Circle in 2013 to assert creative control over his music, and if there were any legal challenges, I'm certain it would have surfaced long before now. I personally believe that becoming a father totally rewired Chronixx and changed his worldview completely. And when you combine the rigors and the intrigues of the music business with his new overriding powerful commitment to being there for his daughter, his hiatus really begins to make sense. And since he left the scene, he's made a transition to an activist, and in the last couple of years became a sponsor of the Jam Coders program, a summer camp in Jamaica that teaches kids coding and artificial intelligence. And he also established the Caring Hands of Rastafari Foundation, which is focused on environmental causes. But despite all this, this might just be the year that he makes his long-awaited comeback. From a song with Inner Circle that came out a few months ago, to recent sightings on a music video set in Kingston, have all sparked rumors about work in the studio and hopefully a new album this year. There have been no official accounts yet, but the fans have their fingers crossed, and I wouldn't be surprised if something really drops. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.